Okay, well, on Ritz's.com, we've got another staple at the Ritz household. This is called A to Z. Thank you, Chad and Michelle, for introducing us to A to Z. It is a great game. It's definitely a boys versus girls kind of game. That's how we usually play it here at the Ritz household. It's a good game. Let's show you what it is. Let's take a look inside. Alright, as you can see, we've got very few moving parts. We've got you get four boards, lettered A to Z. Sometimes we play what's called double boards, and one team tries to fill up both boards, or sometimes we just play single. And you get these nice red plastic chips that just seem to fall in there very nicely. You get a couple of dice, the typical 1 to 6, and a timer dice. We'll talk about that in a minute. You get cards with all sorts of different categories on them, numbered 1 to 6, and that kind of corresponds to the numbered dice here. And you get this terrible timer. You are going to want to just throw this thing out and use a clock with a second hand, or a watch with a second hand, or maybe a kitchen timer or something else, because otherwise you have to put up with this the whole game. Let me tell you, you don't want that going on for the next half an hour. So find yourself a different way to keep time. You'll need to get something that'll keep time in 15-second increments and 30-second increments. So when it's your turn to go, your team will roll the dice. The number that you roll on the typical die corresponds to what numbered topic you have to answer for. This turn we would have to be answering for French towns or cities. Oh, the joy. And we've got 15 seconds to do it. So my team would be yelling out Paris, Lyon, and some other French cities. You cover up the first letter of every name or topic that you like: types of music, floor coverings, science fiction television shows. We do have one house rule thanks to Chad and I. You may not use adjectives. The first time we ever played this game with Chad and Michelle, Chad and I got the topic things you find in a park. And we said happy people, sad people, glad people, tall people, short people, round people, bad people, nice people. Adjectives don't cut it. You gotta use actual nouns. And the first person to cover up the board wins. There's obviously more chips than this to cover up your boards with. There's a couple other things on this timer die that you might have noticed. If you roll the circle, that means you get to cover up one letter for your turn, and that's it. If you get the fist, you get to take the other person's board, and you get 15 seconds to try and pull chips off of their board for whatever topic you have. So if we got science fiction television shows, and this was our opponent's board that we got to take for the fist: Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, V from the 80s, yeah. But the first person to cover up their board amidst all that kind of battling back and forth wins. It's that simple. It's a lot of fun. This is a game that you can play with just the two of you. It's certainly a game that you can play with little kids too, because obviously they can't read that, and we've often played with Tim where we would just like say words that start with M, or things at school, stuff like that. You can adjust it for little kids. Definitely a thing you can play with 20 people. Get all sorts of people, crowded around a table to play this game. It certainly works in teams. If you have more than, say, like oh, 6 people on a team, you'll probably want to play with double boards, where you try to fill up 2 A's, 2 B's, and so forth. And that's about it. That's A to Z. It's a great game. It's a fun game. Again, if you haven't played it, you probably haven't been to our house.